Hey everyone. So if you just finished Unit 4, Lesson 4 notes, we are going to go through guided practice problems. And we are finding the slope of a table or a graph using a calculator. So we did this problem together on the mini lesson. And now I want you to pause and try this problem on your own and then come back and check your answer. I'm hoping you paused. So we're going to go through this. The first thing, we don't need to find our points because they're already given to us, 2 and -3. But we need to label those points. So what we're going to do is we are going to rewrite these. Oh, I don't remember what it was. We're going to rewrite these, -6 and 1, because when we put it into our calculator, this is the view that we need them in. We need them in an up and down view. And you'll see what I mean when I enter this into the calculator. So I've labeled the points, and next I need to follow my calculator steps. So over here on my calculator, I'm going to hit the stat button. The stat button is next to the wheel that moves. My second step is to hit edit, so I can either hit the number 1 or I hit enter. And as you see, I've got some points in here already, but I need to enter these points. So L1, L2, and the point should be -6, 1, and 2 and -3. And this is why I rewrite those points, because that's what my calculator screen should look like. So the first I need to have 2 and I hit enter, -6, and the negative is down by the enter button. And now my tablet says 2 and -6. Now I need to use this toggle button, the wheel in the top right. And I'm going to enter -3. And again, the negative is by the enter button. -3, enter, and 1, enter. So now the numbers in my table should match and look like the numbers that I've entered there. So I've done the stats, the edits, I've entered the points. Now I'm going to go back. I'm going to hit stat. And now I need this calc button. So I use this little arrow button to the right to do calc. And I want this number 4, AX plus B. So I'm going to type the number 4, and I need to go down to calculate it. So I push all the way down. When this calculates flashing, I hit enter. And there, this A is our slope. So although they call it y equals AX plus B, it's y equals MX plus B. And that M calculated for us was a -0.5. Now, when you're looking on your answers, 0.5 probably won't be in your answers. If I turn that into a fraction, what fraction is 5/10? Well, I can also rewrite that. That is 5/10, and I can reduce that fraction down to 1/2. So my M is actually equal to -1/2. Okay, let's see what our next problem is. We did this table problem together, and I want you to try this table problem on your own. Be sure you've paused the video and you tried it on your own. Okay, so now I do have to do problem 1. I need to find my 2 points. I'm going to start with this one, and that's going to be 11 and 198. And then my second point, I'm just going to skip one. Oh, it's going to be 16 and 288. And I wrote them vertically, so I have L1 here and L2 there. And that's going to matter when we get into our calculator. So I've found my points, I've labeled my points, and now it's time to do my calculator steps. I hit stat, and the first one I need to do is edit, so I can type the 1 and hit enter. Okay, see, I'm clicking, that's not going to help. Got to use the arrow key. Okay, I don't know what I've done, so I'm going to hit second and quit, and it starts me back over at the beginning. So stat, I want to, there we go. So I need to make sure 11 and 16, 11's first, and then 16, and I toggle over to L2, 198, hit enter, 288, and hit enter. Now I make sure that these table lines up and looks like that. 11 and 16, 198, 288, it does. So now I'm going to hit my stat button again. And this time I need to go over to this calc. So I hit the right arrow key, and I'm choosing, I want to find out what MX plus B. So I hit 4, and down to calculate and hit enter. And that gives me A or M is equal to 18. So it's 18. The rate of change is 18. That means that the number of books increases by $18 for each book that is printed. Okay? We've got one last problem for you to check. This is from a graph. You're going to have to find your points from the graph. So I'm going to look at the 2 black points. I've got one here, and I've got one there. So I'm going to start with my blue point. My X is how far over. If I'm looking at my blue point, do I move over? No, I'm not moving. So that means that point's going to be 0. And then I'm going to measure my vertical, and that is 1600. Okay. Next, I need to find my second or my green point. I'm going to see how many I come over, and that number there is 60. And how much do I go up? Well, I'm not going anywhere, so that number is 0. Now I'm going to exit, or I'm going to hit stat. I'm going to edit my points. So I'm going to go ahead and enter. I'm going to use the line. It needs to be, or the arrow is 0, enter, 60, enter. Then I go up and I say 1600, enter, 0, enter. 0, 60, 1600. Okay, so those match up. They look the same. I've entered my points. Now I need to go back to calculate. So I do stat, arrow over to calculate, and I'm looking for the number 4. I scroll down to hit calculate and enter. And this A, so this says that our M is equal to negative 26, which the line is going down when I'm looking left to right. So it is negative 26.6 repeating. Again, we got to think about our fractions. So what fraction gives you a 0.6 repeating? Well, I can think about my thirds. I have 1/3 and I have 2/3. Well, 1/3 is 0.33 repeating and 2/3 is 0.66 repeating. So our slope, if I change it into fraction form, is negative 26 and 2/3. Okay? Go on and practice your independent practice. And if you have any questions, send me pictures of your work so that we can see where you're making any mistakes.